play video games anymore. I need to engage in better productive habits.
And I feel like it's worth noting you had a Switch with a bunch of your favorite games on it.
Shut up.
Inexplicably.
Shut up.
For no rational reason.
The rational reason isn't particularly rational. It's because I would have had to get new Joy-Cons for it. And I was like, I'll get a Switch 2 when the price goes down on those. And now I'm like, I better go back and buy a used Switch. I've made a terrible mistake. So, speaking of terrible mistakes, we're still doing the show and you're still listening to it. I'm Nick.
And I'm Kyle.
And this is
I'm at home playing a comfy little game called Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is really good. I'm enjoying it. I think it's the kind of thing you might like, Nick, if you got a chance to play it.
Wait, the game that I recommended to you because I started playing it?
I'm doing a bit.
Oh, okay. Let's go on with the bit. Would I like it?
I was hoping you would be upset that I was playing the game you'd been obsessed with that you couldn't play right now.
Oh, no, not at all. If anything, so Kyle and I talked about this a little bit pre-show, which, by the way, yeah, this is the Big Bang Theory. We watch this TV show we don't really like. It's called The Big Bang Theory. So we try to talk about anything else we can. And eventually we'll get to the show we're supposed to talk about and break it
for
down.
Like 5 minutes.
So, like 5 minutes, yeah. But, hey, everybody, I'm a pothead. And it's fine. But I also, on my work trip here, I was like, I'm not going to bring any. You know, I'm just going to live in reality and deal with it. And that's going fine. But also, part of this is the giddiness I have with the idea of taking such a long break. And then when I get back, eating the tiniest edible and then transporting my entire mind and soul into Final Fantasy. Just whatever boundaries exist between that game and my mind will dissolve, and I'll just giggle and laugh like an idiot, and I'll order Indian food to come to me, and I don't know, I'll make a little shrine to worship my cat Jerome while I play. It's going to be great. We hope. That's what I'm looking forward to, is having the most intense Final Fantasy time when I return. This is like that thing where I don't know how often it is, but like, you know, if like couples have to like travel apart or something, and it's like, oh, I'm not gonna have any sort of like I'm not gonna masturbate at all, so that way I'll be, you know, so sexually deprived that when I see my beloved again, we'll just go crazy on each other. I'm always like, that doesn't sound, it sounds like it would last 30 seconds and then you'll regret not jacking off that whole time. But I guess that's not a thing that you've had to talk through a friend with about.
No,
I can't wait.
At all.
You've never heard of anyone going through a sexual deprivation period?
No, I think maybe, but only because they weren't with anyone, not because they were like trying to optimize for their next hookup. I think if you or any of my other friends started talking to me about something like that, that would be the sign that we were not to be friends anymore.
Oh, I didn't expect things to go in this direction. Is this because you cannot befriend someone who doesn't abuse themselves, who doesn't ask God to blindfold himself before committing sin?
No. It's just, I try to not be, I try to accept that I live the life I've lived, the kind of person I am, the kind of person my friends are. There's going to be a lot of oversharing going on. Like, the oversharing is just built in, but you got to draw the line somewhere. And hey, this is how much I'm looking forward to, like, busting my nut the next time I see my sweetie, because I'm real backed up right now. I think that's like 10 steps past the line where I'm comfortable.
You see, with me, it's funny because the oversharing wouldn't bother me at all. But if they used the phrase "bust a nut," I'd be like, indelicate. We're not going to talk as much as we ought to. Until you come with turns of phrases that don't make
That's
me
the part
feel as yucky.
that makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah,
interesting.
No, the idea.
So we're both broken, just for very different reasons.
I don't even want to say it again, Kyle. That phrase just grosses me out. I guess I don't.
But not the concept as a whole.
Not at all.
Not the whole conversation.
No, that's great. That's fun. That's Why not? Well, except for the practical reasons that I've already laid out. That what are you saving up for? It's not gonna help you. You're gonna feel like a fool. But no, the sharing. I think there are a few things someone could share with me that I wouldn't just hear and go, oh, neat. Like I'm trying to off the top of my head to think of examples that might bother me. But if someone said they murdered somebody, I'd be like, well, glad that I know that about you now. I know that, maybe not sleep near you on, I don't know, after a knife party or whatever.
Yeah, during your murdering hours.
Right. But, if then they said, I'm planning to murder somebody, then I'd be like, well, who are we talking about? If you don't share it with me, I'm going to be on high alert. If you do share it with me, then I have to make the decision about whether or not that person deserves to know that they're going to get murdered. So there's still, nuance to be had, right? There's no categorical no. If someone is like, hey, you want to see these photos of my kids, then I'll be like, fuck you, not interested. Those are the things I don't want people to share. Oh, hey, do you want to know what I did with my family this weekend? No, I don't at all. Why do you think anyone would be interested in that, you idiot? Tell me how often you jack off already. That's where I'm at, all right?
So on that note, this episode was a bunch of people describing their weekends and how they spent time with their family.
Yeah, this one stunk, dude. I don't know. Maybe I kind of started to turn against it pretty early because, well, we'll do the quick fan wiki summary here before we tear it apart, before we give it the treatment. Ooh. Oh, Jesus Christ, the summary is very short. So today we officially watched the 12th episode of the 10th season of the television series known as The Big Bang Theory, officially titled The Holiday Summation, and the unofficial official summary from the fan wiki reads, Sheldon and Amy visit Mary, that's Sheldon's mom, in Texas together. Leonard and Penny go get a Christmas tree, and Hallie Wallowitz won't stop crying. I forgot the baby has a name. It's Hallie.
I didn't think they'd told us her name before. But I guess
maybe not. They're retrofitting the wiki, which I guess, why wouldn't you? Because what are you going to say? Undisclosed baby yet to be named. Please click for the revelation. But here's the problem I have. On the one hand, it's easy and convenient to talk about because you've got three distinct plots. On the other end, none of them are plots. This is
a clip show.
It is exactly, and it's because they set up the framing device as the show starts with Sheldon and Amy coming over to Leonard and Penny's apartment, and I don't know if was it supposed to be a post-Christmas gathering, or did that just kind of happen as things went along?
Yeah, I think this was probably episode 12 that actually checks out. So this was probably the first episode after the Christmas break in real life for the audience. And so they were acknowledging that in the fiction of the show.
Yeah. And I think even that's weird too, because it starts with these four in Leonard's apartment. By the end of the episode, the whole cast is there. And so we've had these episodes where, cast members disappear for a long time, or they're obviously never in the same scene or on the same stage together. And so it's strange to me that they do a clip episode, but they still went through the effort of getting everyone into the room just to acknowledge okay, here's where I got annoyed. I feel like they couldn't figure out how to make a worthwhile episode from any one of these threads. And rather than
or even a complete episode,
right.
They couldn't even figure out basically how to get from plot point A to plot point B in these episodes.
Yeah, and so my bad attitude the whole time was they are using leftovers, and they are cramming them in to this framework just to get them out and done with. But this isn't a real episode, unless. And this is what I was waiting for. By the time it finishes, this framing device and all of them coming together connects the plots in some sort of way that we end with some sort of, at least coherent, if not completely satisfying tie-in at the end of all of it, and then that never happens. The whole episode is more and more people keep showing up to the apartment. They describe the like the 2 or 3 shots for each of their respective holiday plans, and none of them are interesting or funny. But to knock them out real quick, our A- plot, or our negative level A plot is Sheldon and Amy go to Texas to visit Sheldon's mom, and Sheldon is, a little embarrassed that Amy's gonna experience the full ignorance of Texans as represented by his religious zealot mother, and is anxious because Amy wants to reveal that they are now living together and is worried his mom's going to freak out. They do tell her she's fine with it. Sheldon tries to be very annoyed because his mom expresses relief that they're living together, because she was pretty sure he was just going to be a lonely weirdo his whole life. Or as she clarifies, not his whole life, just the middle part, because at the end there'd probably be nurses there. And then on the way back, Amy reveals, well, I knew your mom was going to be okay with it, because I've already told her, because I knew it was going to be an issue and I wanted to address it ahead of time. Sheldon gets upset. He's like, hey, you're managing my life for me now? And she's like, well, the parts that you can't manage, you're great at these other things. And good grief, if I can't remember that resolving. Did they just kind of leave on that note where they're like, we've got our differences?
Yeah, they just, like, she's not even in the end of the episode, so they're just like they don't even show, like, they literally cut away from her mid-conversation and then never cut back to her.
Yeah, and so it's like, this could have been an episode if it were developed, right? It's like, okay, we're having the big meeting with the super conservative mom who isn't going to approve of our lifestyle, because that was the thing, is they're living together, they're fucking, but they're not married, and that's going to annoy the hyper Christian mom. But again, she's fine with it, and so maybe that was the issue. Maybe they too quickly figured out how to resolve the conflict, and then they're like, well, hell, do we want to try to turn this into a full episode? And it's like, no, put it in the bucket, put it in the leftover bucket, and then we will pair it up with plot B, which is Penny and Leonard decide to have, their own little cute couple's Christmas, and they're out shopping and doing stuff, and they decide to go pick up a tree. But they are going to go to a tree farm where you actually get to cut it down yourself. And so they describe that. Cut to, they are both disheveled, miserable, covered in dirt, bruised and broken, because Leonard is apparently so terrible at swinging an axe and had thrown it at some point that I guess they both must have fallen down a mountain. They don't describe that part, but how it is that Leonard not being good with an axe could result in them both being completely destroyed isn't ever really explained. And that's it too, because like they're calling back in the framing part of this episode to, oh, we had the worst fight we've ever had. They don't describe the fight at all. They describe what is basically the lead up to it, and it doesn't even seem like that big of a deal. Oh, I guess we see them bringing the Christmas tree up the stairs, and then it is later revealed that they threw it down the elevator shaft, which I also don't understand. And that's it for them. So you don't see the fight that they say was the biggest fight, that is the reason they're telling the story. And the events that predicate the fight aren't particularly dramatic, nor are they shown. It's a real tell don't see issue. And then C plot is it bothered me the least, but it's also the biggest dud. It just comes and goes, which is, Bernadette and Wallowitz have a baby now, and the baby won't stop crying. Bernadette gets real upset and jealous because when Stuart comes over to help, he is able to immediately get the baby to bed. There is no more crying, and the kind of question goof becomes, well, is Bernadette a terrible mom, or is the baby a jerk? And it's obviously silly, and it never goes anywhere. That thread ends with Bernadette lying down in the crib with the baby, comfortable and falling asleep. And so there wasn't even really conflict there to begin with. I guess if it existed at all, it would have been between maybe Bernadette and Stuart because of the jealousy. It'd be funny if it were like Bernadette and the baby. And it's like, your Wallowitz genes make you like a miserable little helpless bastard. And I know all babies are miserable little helpless bastards, but I feel like this is going to be a regular thing for you. That doesn't happen. And that was pretty specific. There's no reason that would necessarily have to happen unless they were good writers and I did it. And this episode were good because of me. And, like I mentioned, they all tell their stories. It cuts back to the framing where they are all now in the apartment, like the entire main cast. And yeah, they all have snacks. And they're like, well, that was fun. I guess we all had a Christmas adventure. And that's it. And yeah, it's just...
hearing you describe it again, I do think your first theory is actually... Occam's razor says the most likely thing is you're absolutely right, that they had a bunch of ideas and stuff they couldn't make fit in individual episodes, so they just threw it all together for this. But hearing you describe it almost made me wonder if this was one of those things where... somebody accidentally deleted half the footage, which used to happen sometimes, because you have all of the clips on like a hard drive somewhere, and maybe like the hard drive just like, somebody was smoking too near it and it caught fire or something. And then they're like, shit, now we only have half of this episode and we have to do reshoots. And so everything that was left in the episode that we saw was like all of the framing and the cutaways and the weird not showing things was just because they had accidentally deleted the first half of the episode.
I'll just choose to believe that because, I'm very cynical and speculative and who knows what really happened there, but it does feel that way. And then like, I don't know, it makes me think of like when a movie is, they shoot it and then they watch it and they're like, well, that wasn't any good. I guess we better add more footage to try to make something out of it. And this is the little 22-minute version of that. And like, it's fine. This is the kind of thing that I think the show really excels at, is if it's on in the background, it's not going to make you turn your eye away from your chores for very long. And you will still feel like you have participated in the classic American ritual of watching a weekly ensemble sitcom. And, I don't know, like, there's just, like, even, like, so Laurie Metcalf, who plays Sheldon's mom, she's always great. And even she doesn't really have anything to do. Like, her one big ignorant line is asking Sheldon, like, Wallowitz and Bernadette, are they going to raise the kid to be Jewish or regular? And that's like, ha ha ha, she's ignorant. And it's not like the most, racist or anti-Semitic thing that she said or anyone has said on the show by far. But that's it. And it's like, I don't know, she's supposed to be upset, right? Like, that's what that plot would be about. And also, as I'm just like scrolling through the wiki looking for like any sort of fun tricks here that I'm forgetting about, the voice of the baby is Pamela Adlon. I don't know why you would have to have such a talented voice actor just to make a baby cry.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I might be mistaken. I'm pretty sure she, among many other things, plays Bobby Hill. Yeah, that's her. And she was, Louis C.K., obviously cool, great guy. She was on his show. She's been in a bunch of stuff. I don't know. I guess she's someone who's not like famous, but is.
But she is a very talented voice actress.
Yes. No, she's great. And that's weird that she, I don't know. Maybe that's just like a classic Hollywood trick. Like, Pamela needs work. You want to be a baby crying on the biggest sitcom in the country? And she's like, I fucking deserve this. This is my weekend paycheck. And she, to whatever extent that might be true, good for her because she's great. yeah, it's like Raj does nothing. Nothing.
Nope.
And that's
He
like,
doesn't even get, that was crazy because he doesn't even, like, we don't even find out what he was doing. He doesn't even get, like, this is what I did over Christmas. Like, even Stuart gets that, and Raj doesn't get that.
yeah, it's,
The closest he gets is a quick story about how, hey, when I was a kid, if my brother cried, the servants just took him far away from the rest of us.
right. And then, Bernadette has her little moment of, and that's it. And it's just leftovers. And it's not even like the leftovers you want. It's like somebody's already eaten all the turkey or something, and you're like, I like green bean casserole, but I don't want to eat, a meal of green bean casserole. Which I say that out loud, that's not true. That's how much I love green bean casserole. That was the silliest thing for me to pick. The most disgusting of 50s convenience Midwest foods that I nonetheless will just I'd eat that every day. So, Kyle, I'm struggling to make hay of this. Do you have anything else about this thing? You don't have to. It's so light.
Yeah. Mostly, I thought Laurie Metcalf's points to Sheldon all made perfect sense, which is like, yeah, I mean, I hold normal kids to one standard, and then I hold you to a different standard because you're not normal. Like, that was actually one of the more sensible things she'd ever said.
Yeah, well, and it's I guess it's not strange, but that's, to the extent you have any drama at all, it's Sheldon being really upset by that idea. And so he goes to his bedroom to pout. When he comes back out, he's wearing tighty-whitey underwear over his face, and he's wearing flippers,
God, yeah, I forgot
like
about
swing
that part.
flippers. And he's like, look at me, aren't I weird? Wah ha ha. But even then, it's like, Sheldon, you are. You tell everybody how little you relate to them because you're a genius and all of them are stupid and their feelings don't matter. But I don't know. I guess that's like a constant thing anyway, right? That he does, in fact, have feelings and gets upset by things that are sometimes obvious and sometimes hurtful. But that's also like the most of it. Like, especially with like the Leonard and Penny thing. Why did they not show the fight that was the reason for the clip? Why did they not show the issues with the tree that made them so upset that they weren't talking by the end? It's just, I don't know. It's like an episode that was made by reference. It's, hey, we're all here together. Let's talk about these scenes we would have had, but not the things that you'd be interested in. Now I'm getting more mad as I talk about it. So I feel like,
yeah, we should move on before you're like, you know what? Fuck this.
No, yeah, I feel like the hatred welling up within me, which is like, you did it again. You stole life from me. I did also notice that the elevator has its own entry in the wiki here. And guess what? It's more than a couple paragraphs long. So good on you, weird
Does
Big
that
Bang
mean,
Theory
I
nerds.
guess, that sometime in the future, the Christmas tree being in the elevator is going to come back?
Maybe it's gonna catch fire, and that's gonna be the reason they'll have to move out of that building. And they're all going to be haunted because at least one of their neighbors is going to die of smoke inhalation. Probably a couple, right? Pasadena, people there, a little older, a little slower, a little more relaxed, a little more likely to just die in a fire. So we've got that to look forward to, I assume. But Kyle, now we've done the dirty work, want to talk about things we actually enjoy?
Yeah, sure.
So I have one that is hot and fresh. How do you feel? Do you want to go first, or shall I?
Sure, I'll go first this time.
Cool.
Because Gwen and I needed a date night, so we went to see a movie, and there was like nothing on that we thought we would both like. But I had heard that there was a movie that was quote unquote surprisingly good, which is always what you want to hear, right?
Yeah.
But, remembering the lesson of Paddington Bear and Paddington Bear 2, which when everybody
hell
told me
yeah.
those movies were good, they did turn
Yeah.
out to be shockingly good. I decided to go with the vibes on this one, and I saw the movie Sheep Detectives.
So we have mutual friends who I'll not name, that whenever I'm with them and they see one of the posters for it, because they're all over LA, they just laugh aloud because they're like, this is Hugh Jackman's best movie. This is like Rotten Tomatoes scores, critical feedback, whatever. This is technically the best movie he's ever made. And it's The Sheep Detective. So that's all I know about it. But you're saying you've experienced it.
I get that because like about 25 to 30 minutes into the movie, I turned to Gwen and I'm like, is it just me or is this actually really like shockingly fucking good? And it is exactly part of what's crazy about it is about exactly what the title and any like half a trailer you think about it would suggest, which is Hugh Jackman is a farmer in a small English village. I think it's England. Maybe it's Australia, but I think it's England. Maybe they even tell you at some point, but I don't know.
One of those wrong speaking English countries.
Right. I think it was England. Anyway, he's just a shepherd in this plot of land in this tiny town in the middle of nowhere in England, who is murdered. And the people, the one small town cop, it's too hard for him to figure out, but Hugh Jackman's sheep, who are voiced by a murderer's row of some of the best actors you have ever heard in your life, and this is not, I mean, they are CGI sheep, but this isn't like bad CG. This is mostly like a live action movie. You know, their mouths don't like move in weird ways when they talk and stuff.
I'm picking up Babe vibes.
Very much. Obviously sort of a Babe vibe. And Hugh Jackman, before he died, he liked to read mystery novels to his sheep. And so the sheep figure out that he's been murdered and decide that they are going to solve the murder of this man and somehow bring the murderer to justice. And that is the rest of the movie, is the sheep investigating the murder of a human man. Normal sheep. This isn't a universe where everyone can hear the sheep talk. The sheep understand each other, but that's it. And I guess they understand humans, but humans don't understand sheep. Yeah. And they decide and successfully, spoiler, do solve what is actually a pretty complicated, if old school Agatha Christie style murder mystery through the power of, perseverance and, paying careful attention to the details of the case.
Nice. So this is coming with a real recommend. This is not just, I saw a silly thing. This is a good movie.
Here's the thing. All of that would make it, like, its commitment to playing its premise straight is already amazing. The fact that the voice cast is, like, the lead sheep detective who's, like, in charge of the flock is Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And then she teams up with, like, the lone wolf badass Ram, who's voiced by, the guy who was Walter White.
Bryan Cranston.
And then Patrick Stewart's an old sheep, and Chris O'Dowd, and, that other one New Zealand act, Rhys Darby. Again, just like a crazy murderer's row of people voicing all the different sheep. But then also, and this is where, like, I think it went a step further, it has what I think of as, like, the 80s children's movie vibe, which is, this is a movie for kids. This is a movie that's funny and designed to be enjoyed predominantly by children, but that doesn't mean we're not going to talk about the overwhelming specter of death. That doesn't mean we're not going to show you that this is a world where anything that you love can be snatched away from you, and you will watch the person you love most in the world die in front of your eyes while you're powerless to help it. Like, there's again, Hugh Jackman dies pretty early in the movie, and then later on, there's another death in the movie where I was like, oh, this is straight up Artak's Never-Ending Story vibes. Like, this is a moment that every kid who sees this will be burned into their brain for the rest of their lives. I have got to give the movie credit for doing that, because I didn't think modern movies had the balls anymore to do shit like that.
I'm glad to hear that, because this is one of my, like, conservative old man opinions. So I'm like, movies should fuck kids up a little bit more. Like, I think, and, like, to be a little genuine about it, I really do think that that media, like, we should let kids be traumatized by it a bit, because it's not real. And so if you're going to experience these really fucked up things, I think it's like helpful for conditioning you for when it really happens. And if that means some kids got to go to the cute sheep movie and walk out with like their eyes wider open than they ever imagined, like I support it.
Yeah, me too.
Nice. Okay. Well, I guess I'm going to check out The Sheep Detective. Cool. Anything else about it?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Well, I realized, because I saw something that was surprisingly good, which I wasn't thinking about at the beginning of the podcast, so I'm going to do a quick 1.5 here, which is a few nights ago here in my hermitage, I decided to finally watch Send Help, the most recent Sam Raimi movie.
Oh, yeah.
Which, have you seen that one?
Yeah, that was my recommendation like a month and a half ago.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. I was hesitant. I think maybe it's just because like I hold him and his movies so dear that I was afraid to be disappointed, and I wasn't. It's wonderful. It's I think I heard some complaints, or maybe I'm just making them up, about a lot of CG being used in the movie instead of practical effects, and I think I would agree with that a little bit. But at the end of the day, who gives a shit in this case? Like I don't know. It's so fun and gross and silly, and I don't know. It's fast. It's got, I think, especially for like a really ridiculous horror movie, a pretty believable narrative. I don't know. I was sold. Like those first few minutes were, I already kind of knew what it was about and like the big outlines. I was like, all right, let's see if it's gonna actually draw me in, and it did. Loved it. But the movie that I want to recommend even harder is just last night, for the first time ever, I watched Some Like It Hot. Kyle.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a classic. That's, I think Billy Wilder wrote the screenplay and directed that movie.
Yeah. And so it's, I guess, it's 1959. It is black and white. So in my mind, I put that like solidly 50s, even though it's here on the cusp. And like I avoid, like not even intentionally, just by like instinct, a lot of movies from this era, because I'm always like concerned about them being like either like too kind of dry compared to modern standards, or like especially for comedies like too broad. But I watched this, and at the end of it, I was like, oh, that was a perfect movie. That's incredible. Just absolutely nailed it. No fat, so tightly wound. And it's too, especially for a comedy movie, like the relationships between the characters are believable, and there's an actual coherent plot that moves forward. Like, I love a movie that is just an excuse to throw in as many jokes as possible. But it's a real believable story. And so, like, the bare basics of it are you follow Joe, and I can't remember because they used their lady names the whole time. I think it's Joe and Gary. But there are a couple musicians in Prohibition-era Chicago who, and this I really didn't expect because I always think these movies are so cute, they witness a mob murder. and so they have to get the hell out of Chicago because they don't want to be murdered by the mob. And to do that, they're struggling, poor, miserable musicians. And as a joke, one of their girlfriends is like, oh, hey, here's a show you could try. They need a sax and a bass player. And so they eagerly go for it, only to learn, it's an all-women troupe, so they can't do it. But then after they see this murder, they come back dressed as women, and that is the movie, is, okay, we need to not be murdered, and so we are going to dress as women and be a part of this traveling band, which is on its way to a resort in Florida. The idea being that that's just where they're going to fuck off to, right? They're going to get down there and they're going to leave. What they don't count on is Marilyn Monroe showing up as Sugar Cane. Cane was not her real last name. I'm not going to bother remembering what it was. Something Polish, I remember they say. But, boy, here's another... These people... I don't know if you know this about Marilyn Monroe, Kyle. She's pretty hot.
Yeah, no. Distractingly so. Almost like a special effect in the movie.
Yeah, because that's the thing is, like, the two are both tickled that they're surrounded by, young, pretty women who also just totally buy in. That's one of the things where maybe you could call it a suspension of disbelief, or maybe you can call it, decent makeup and an accepting populace, that their women facades hold up the entire time. They're just both wearing wigs and makeup, and I guess they've got fake breasts. And actually, there was something that was really refreshing too. Is I can't say it's a progressive movie necessarily, but there aren't any mean jokes really about
No.
that they're women. They're not making gay jokes. They're not making emasculating jokes. The only time it ever really comes up is one of them, Josephine, who is played by I was thinking his name all day, and of course now I can't remember it. Jack Lemmon. He ends up. I think something that's very of the time, or at least I think is still happening. People are just a lot more quiet about it now. Is Marilyn Monroe is I'm hot and I need to marry an old millionaire, right? That's the way of life. And what ends up happening is Jack Lemmon ends up getting picked up by an old millionaire. And there's a point after they go out on a date, which is just meant as a diversion, so his friend can get sugar cane alone on a yacht and have some hot makeouts. Jack Lemmon comes back from this date. It seems genuinely enamored. And, he's yeah, of course, it'll all end and I'll get divorced and I'll get alimony out of it. But, oh, wow, this is great. We're going to meet his mother, and he already got me. And, Gary has to say, that's not done. You can't do that. You're not going to be able to go and get married. But not even really in oh my God, I can't believe, well, yes and I can't believe you way, but not in any sort of discouraging or, it's they're really supportive of each other.
Yeah.
And they're good friends. And, I think the only thing that doesn't totally add up is how quickly they each accept their lots, because initially there's competition between them for sugar cane. But, when Josephine falls in love with that old millionaire, I guess, that just kind of settles it. They're all right, love is love, and they move on. But it's so funny, and I emphasize again, it's tight. I don't know actual runtime. It's not a short movie. Oh, it's a solid 2 hours. Brisk, yes. There's just no wasted time. There's nothing extraneous. It all is just so well developed, and this is one of those things where I avoided westerns for the longest time, because in my mind those were just old dad movies. And then I finally started checking out a couple, and I was oh, no, these are often about the horrible trauma of war. This is a lot more interesting than I thought. I assumed it was just, guys in hats shooting each other. This, too, I was it's going to be some silly, frivolous musical, and everyone's going to sing and get together. And no, it's great. It's, and also, oh, go ahead.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't want to spoil it. It's not really because it's not a movie that's held up by the plot, but the dialogue is razor sharp. And I think it is considered by many people, me included, to have possibly the single most iconic, final scene in any movie ever. In that, the last 2 minutes are so good, and the ending is so perfect. It may be a movie that ends perfectly.
Yeah, I won't spoil it any more than we have, but I was seeing clips of that online where I was well, I have to see what leads up to this. And every bit about it is great. I have no complaints. I have no criticisms. It was just great. So hooray. Yeah, some like it hot. I give it the biggest recommendation I can. This is a silly thing. I miss old-timey racism, where this movie... it has, I don't know if there's any black people in it, which is especially bizarre given that it's Prohibition era Chicago as a start. But to the extent they can still be racist, it's against Italians, because they're all mobsters, and the main villain, his name is Spats. Because he always wears spats, and he's the leader of his gang. He seems like a normal guy, right? Like there's the incredibly strong correlation between, Italians and the mob that they just roll with. But what I think is very funny that you don't see anymore is all of his goons are like fucking Frankensteins. They're like, it's like, okay, we've got the leader, and then you've got gigantic, leathery, mean men who like just exist to like, hit people and do errands. And that was, didn't find it offensive, but I found it very notable. That's like something that you would just not do anymore in what, for a time, was becoming a much more welcome, non-judgmental society, but obviously is not really going so great anymore. But yeah, it's just, well, even to that extent, that's for goofs, right? Like I bring it up because it's like the only thing that stands out as even a little bit problematic, and it's still pretty fucking lighthearted. Yeah, just wonderful. And I remembered I also saw The Wedding Crashers, and that's good too. It's no Some Like It Hot, Maybe you like The Wedding Crashers, it's a good movie. Doesn't quite match up to what I am very happy to describe as a perfect movie. So, yeah. I feel like rejuvenated by it. You just get so bored of shit.
Yeah, I know. And it's just like every now and then you come across something and you're like, oh, this is regarded as an all-time classic, and it absolutely like deserves that. It really is that. Okay.
Yeah,
people aren't wrong about everything all the time.
Yeah, well, it's, you wonder about nostalgia and rose-colored glasses, but no, this one just holds up. So yeah, I don't know how to end. I just feel good. I was, here's what I'd say. This is like the antidote to The Big Bang Theory, because I was so mad like 10 or 15 minutes ago thinking about what a big stupid waste of time we just had, and that was like 20 minutes of my life, right? But I spent 2 hours watching this 1950 crime comedy, and I feel like I got some of my life back from it. Like it's so I don't know. Actually, this reminds me, this is a way to wrap up. I was hanging out with a friend back in Montana, and she's someone I'd known for a long time, but we didn't really spend much time together. And I was getting to know her. I was like, oh, you're a real big foodie, and you're kind of a movie snob. So we have those things in common. We're going to do more of that together. And she said something which I like just glommed onto so hard, where she's like, yeah, I like watching bad movies with my friends and everything, but I'd really like to watch a good movie every once in a while. And I was like, thank you. Because that's, I'm very vocal about how much I love trash, but I love trash in addition to these. Yeah. And yeah, so I just say like, this show is to celebrate this, well, not to celebrate, I guess, just to, to whine about this trash that we consume. But, it's worth it to really go out of your way to see the things that are quality, because it really puts in perspective how much of your other time is wasted. I guess if you don't want to think about how everything is dreck, and you don't want to have that degree of comparison, avoid things that are good and listen to this and don't do anything else.